Hi again YouTube, it's that one guy from Lit Class, and today we're going to finish up our brief foray into Middle English by talking about vocabulary. I'm going to start by pointing out some resources which I've included in the description. The first link is to the Middle English Dictionary, which is what it sounds like. The one tip I'll give you when using this source is to make sure you don't use any capital letters, as only certain capital letters work, and they are connected with the special characters we talked about in the last video. The second resource is a collection of words and definitions put together by Project Gutenberg and organized as giant text files. Use your browser's search function to find the word you're looking for. So now we're going to go through a brief example of how vocabulary in Middle English can directly contribute to multiple meanings in a text. We're going to be looking at a pretty famous poem called Fowlers in the Frith. The full text is as follows. Fowlers in the frith, the fishes in the flood, ein e mon wax a wold, much sorrow e walk with, for beste of bone and blood. Okay, so to translate this into modern English, let's start by going through and picking out what we know. Some words like in, and, blood, etc. are spelled exactly the same as in modern English, and if you recall that the thorn in lines 1 and 2 becomes a th, you've just added a couple of these to what you know as well. Now let's look at the words that are close in spelling and identical in meaning. In lines 1 and 2, fowlers is fowls, or more generally, birds, and fishes is fish. In line 4, sarwa and waka are sorrow and walk, respectively, and in line 5, bone is bone. You might be tempted to read that as boon, as in gift, but in this case the context toward blood makes it pretty clear that we're talking about a physical body. Speaking of context, let's go back and fill in some of the words we're missing. This slide shows where we are so far in a modern English translation, with question marks taking the place of unknown words. Okay, so in line 1 we have birds in the something, and in line 2 we have fish in the something. Working from context, we can guess that these might be forest and river, respectively, and we would be correct. Frith refers to any sort of wooded area, and flood can mean any sort of moving body of water, so like streams, rivers, brooks, all of that. Okay, so let's update the translated poem. And now we'll tackle line 3. The phrase mon waxa means must go. The word woad, though, is a little trickier. Depending on circumstances, woad can mean 1. Wood as in lumber, 2. Wood as in a group of trees, 3. The herb woad, and 4. Crazy. This fourth definition comes from the Germanic version of the Norse god Odin, who in continental Germany was referred to as Wodan, and who, fun fact, was associated with both poetry and insanity. So crazy is the only definition that fits here. Let's update the poem to reflect that. So now we only have one more word to translate before we're done. Unfortunately for us, Beste has two meanings, both of which could fit the poem. The first meaning is beast, and the second is best. If we go with the first meaning, the poem is about a person's relationship to nature, with images of fish and birds in their natural habitats, compared to the human who can't find his or her natural habitat and is thus a crazed beast. If we go with the second meaning, then the poem can be about a lost love, with the poet lamenting that the best of all humans in his or her eyes is not with them, and thus they are mad with despair. However, the poem has a potential third meaning, a religious meaning this time. If we take the best of bone and blood to literally mean the best human that has ever lived, then the poem, read in the Christian tradition at least, is about the death of Christ and how mortals are expected to mourn for their sins. One word, two definitions, three meanings. Middle English is sometimes tricky to work through, but it's definitely worth it. And just because we've talked about three meanings today doesn't mean there can't be any more. If anyone out there thinks of another one, leave it in comments. Next week we're going to go back in time a little bit and talk about what is arguably the most violent story ever. Cheers!